Maryland Congressman Steny Hoyer. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, Congressman.
Good evening. Good to be with you, Lawrence.
Congressman, the Senate today offered the House Republicans everything, every single point they said they wanted at the outset of this negotiating process some months ago. I've never seen something like that where one side offers the other side everything, and so far what you're getting is a straight rejection, it seems.
What we're seeing, Lawrence, is, in my opinion, a very sorry and irresponsible spectacle of holding America's creditworthiness and, very frankly, the interest of every American hostage to an increase in the debt limit, which simply says America's going to pay its bills. And what has been offered by Speaker Boehner is a formula that he has rejected and Mr. Cantor have both rejected, saying that if we did just incremental every 6 months or every 8 months, that it would keep the economy roiled and it wouldn't grow. And I think they were absolutely right then. But for political reasons, simply to put the president in a corner, they have said no to every deal, to every compromise, to every effort to move this forward, to adopt responsible policies which will protect the credit of the United States. Very unfortunate that the Republicans continue to pursue this, particularly when Mr. Boehner and the president have reached an agreement tentatively on 2 different occasions. And Mr. Boehner has walked away. Frankly, the Republicans have walked intentionally more than Barry Bonds. And the fact of the matter is that we need to come to an agreement. The Senate, Senator Reid, has offered exactly what they asked for. Mr. Cantor just said we have no taxes in our bill. He was very pumped up about that to tell his constituents that the richest people in America were not going to have to pay anything towards solving this problem. But frankly, the Senate is prepared to offer that because they feel very strongly the responsible step to take is to make sure that America is able to pay its bills on August 3rd.
Congressman Hoyer, in addition to the Republicans' recalcitrance on tax revenues, which the Reid plan now meets and simply eliminates any form of tax revenue increase, including the closing of egregious loopholes, it seems now that the Republicans are intent on getting Democrats to cast a vote for Medicare cuts and getting the president to sign a bill that includes Medicare cuts, because they have exposed themselves in a series of votes in the House in favor of draconian Medicare cuts, including ending Medicare as we know it with the Ryan plan. And it seems to me that their dissatisfaction with the Reid plan is that he achieves these cuts without cutting Medicare.
Lawrence, you're absolutely right, and Bob Greenstein is absolutely right. And your observations with reference to the cuts that would be required in this second tranche to Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security are absolutely correct. Deep, devastating cuts to those programs, and they wouldn't get the votes. So it is a plan that they know would fail, but it carries out their obsession with protecting the wealthiest in America and making the most vulnerable in America pay the bill. That's not good policy, and I suggest to them in the long run, it is certainly not good politics. So I would hope that in the next few hours, frankly, that we could come to an agreement. The Reid plan, as you pointed out, is everything they asked for, and that we could see that passed in the Senate. We get some Republicans to vote for that, send it over to the House, let us pass it forthwith so that, again, America's credit's not put at risk. We've done this before numerous times. Parties have joined together, and in fact, Mr. Boehner has voted to raise the deficit, debt limit on numerous occasions, both under George Bush and under Bill Clinton, so that this is not something that he can say, I've never done this. In fact, he has done it. Why? Because he knew it was necessary. In fact, as you know, he said this was going to be an adult moment. Unfortunately, an adult moment has not yet occurred in the House of Representatives.
Congressman Boehner, the new Republican plan would...
I'm Congressman Hoyer.
Congressman Hoyer, sorry. Congressman Hoyer, the new Republican plan, the Boehner plan, would call for 2 votes, meaning they would require a vote, a painful vote, politically painful vote for everyone on the debt ceiling during an election year. They have accused the president of playing politics with this debt ceiling recently because the president says he doesn't want to have a vote during an election year. He wants to have the next debt ceiling increase come after an election year. If the president is playing politics by saying he doesn't want a vote during an election year, aren't the Republicans playing politics very specifically by saying they do want to put the Democrats and the president through another debt ceiling vote in an election year?
I think it's very obvious that that's exactly what they're doing. And as a matter of fact, their rhetoric is to put President Obama in a bad spot. I disagree with Chuck Schumer, by the way. He says what Democrats get out of this is raising the debt limit. That's not what Democrats get out of it. That's what America gets out of it. That's what every citizen in our country gets out of it. A responsible country that pays its bills and protects the financial stability of our country. Every credit card, 401k programs, stock market. Mr. Boehner made the observation, Speaker Boehner made the observation some months ago when politics were not on the forefront of this issue that we ought not to do exactly what he's proposing. He said we need a long-term solution. He said we need a big solution, a grand solution. The president offered that. It was clear that he could have gotten that deal, in my opinion. The first time that he walked away from the deal, and I'm absolutely convinced, having talked to the president, he could have gotten a deal the second time he walked away. The problem is, I think his party wants to play politics. His party irresponsibly wants to hold hostage the credit of the United States and every American's credit to their politics. And that's unfortunate. Hopefully we'll get by that. Hopefully Mr. Boehner will return to his original concept that we ought to have a long-term, get us out of the election era, and what he has always said he wants is stability so businesses can count on our policies. Well, he's suggested something absolutely the opposite of what he said is good policy.
Congressman Hoyer, I appreciate your semantic correction on what I said about the Democrats get an increase in the debt ceiling. But
Schumer said that.
My point about it, though, is that and I think Senator Schumer's point can also be taken, is we have a history here now, going back the last few decades, that the party of responsibility, the party that makes the most responsible budgetary choices, including in matters of taxation, in spending increases, and in spending cuts, which Democrats have done in the past, is the Democratic Party. They have become, unfortunately, your burden has been to become the party of responsibility, while the Republicans just run off in whatever they find to be the most politically profitable position they can take, even on something as crucial as the debt ceiling.
Lawrence, as you know, the last 4 balanced budgets that were offered and passed were offered by Bill Clinton when he was president of the United States, and we had a balanced budget. So we have not only rhetorically committed to it, but we've done it. We've passed statutory pay go, which said you ought to pay for what you buy. Unfortunately, we ran up $5 trillion in new deficits during the Bush administration simply because we bought a lot and we didn't pay for it. And Republicans, of course, were in control of all the economic policy. But the issue is not what happened in the past or who's responsible. The issue is who's going to be held accountable, who's going to be responsible right now to make sure that America, for the first time in history, is not put in a position where it can't be relied upon by its creditors to pay its bills. That would be destabilizing for not only our own markets, but the international markets as well. And every American will lose if we allow that to happen. Hopefully the Republicans will come to their senses.
Congressman Steny Hoyer, Minority Whip and Democrat of Maryland, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you, Lawrence.
Coming up, how did it come to this?